I doing? People are staring and I'm not supposed to take selfies. I should just sit quietly in a corner. This lipstick? Who put makeup on my face? I'm not supposed to look pretty. And this smile, I'm just faking it. How can I be happy? My skirt is too short. I should pull it down and cover my paralyzed legs. Otherwise, that lady I met the other day will emerge somewhere out of this audience and say, "Wheelchair pe hoke tumne aise kapde kyun pehne hain?" Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pratishtha Deveshwar, and of course, I don't know your names, but for next 10 minutes, I want each one of you to identify yourself, think, and feel like Pratishtha as I take you into my world. Disclaimer, it might be slightly different from what you imagine it to be. So on 29th October 2011, roughly 7 years ago when I was 13, I met with a horrendous car accident that I have no memory of, thankfully, but I vividly remember waking up on a hospital bed in an ICU where I was lying half-conscious, needles pierced in my arms, tubes popping out of my fractured ribcage, metal plates in my spine, a body half paralyzed, and a heart completely broken. That day, I became a part of the world's largest minority, that is, people with disabilities, and my life changed forever. My report said that I had lost my urine and bowel control. I had lost my ability to feel or move anything below my chest. I had lost my ability to walk. But that one thing that was not mentioned in my reports, that my doctors did not warn me about, and I discovered for myself later, is that I had also lost my right to be perceived as a normal human being. Before my accident, my friends used to call me PD, Pratishtha Deveshwar, but post-accident, a W was added to it, and people started calling me PWD, person with disability. So if you look at the order of words in this term closely, you would notice that the word person comes before the word disability. Person with disability. Person comes before disability. Rings a bell? As a 13-year-old girl back then and a 20-year-old today, I fail to understand why do people around me not realize that I am a person, a human being first and disabled second. Thank you. When someone looks at me, they don't look at me per se. They completely ignore my gorgeous smile. They don't care about my educational achievements. They don't want to know about my talents. When someone looks at me, they just look at my wheelchair because for them, my wheelchair is me and I am my wheelchair. You know, people treat me as if I'm an alien just because I have a few extra needs that they find inconvenient to address. I have a question for you. How many of you have noticed lack of ramps, elevators, braille signages, basically inaccessibility at public places, malls, hotels, wherever you go? Wow, so many of you, great. Now be honest and tell me how many of you noticed inaccessibility and then went up to the managers or the authorities and tried to fix it? How many of you tried to do something about it? Just a few hands. So apathy, ignorance, indifference, these things hinder growth and make our society weak from within. We think that disability will never come to me, so why bother? But you know what? I was able-bodied one day, and look at me now. So this disability can happen to anyone, and ignorance is never a good option. Immediately after I became disabled, I could understand that the society looks at people with disabilities through a narrow frame of preconceived ideas that are born out of this ignorance. But it took me a while to realize that people with disabilities are actually being victimized through these stereotypes because we are not what you think we are. We are not symbols of sympathy. We are not emblems of mercy, of nothingness. We have been conditioned by popular media, societal norms, random comments to fit in a false idea of disability. But no more. It's time we end stigma and break stereotypes around disability, and I hope to do that today by sharing some experiences with you. My parents are sitting somewhere in this audience. I can't really spot them. But there's one thing I'm sure they are tired of listening by family, friends, and strangers alike, and that is, आपकी बेटी व्हीलचेयर पे है? बड़ा बोझ है भाई साहब आप पे. बोझ. Burden. People have said this to my parents in front of me so many times that I actually started feeling guilty of being alive. These words made each breath I took feel like a sin and every action of mine feel like a crime. I almost wanted to kill myself and set my parents free of this burden. But you know what? I never attempted suicide. Never. Why? Because while the society was busy judging me by just looking at my disability, I had made a list of all my abilities in my journal, and I believed in them way more than I ever believed in those mindless comments. Thank you. Stereotype number 1. People with disabilities are a burden on their family. The real burden on this world is this mindset that tries to bring people down by pointing at what they cannot do again and again. People repeatedly told me, don't go to Delhi. It would be impossible for you to manage everything alone. But I wanted to prove them wrong. So, with willed determination and a nervous heart, I shifted to Delhi 1 year ago, where I now live alone. I do content writing and earn money, and I travel independently. Thank you. If you ever see a wheelchair buzzing around on Delhi roads at 9 p.m. with shopping bags hanging on either sides, that's me. And I love to see hues of disbelief, astonishment, and awe in eyes of people when I tell them all this, because it brings their preconceived idea about me being a burden shattering down. I am also heading the Equal Opportunity Cell at my college, and we recently released volunteer applications. So the basic job of the volunteers is to assist students with disabilities. So the same evening, a group of 5 to 6 visually impaired girls, they came up to me. They were all looking very nervous. They stood there in silence for a minute, and then they said, Dee, can we also fill the application forms, be volunteers, and help those who might need assistance? I was like, yes, yes, yes. And I'm so happy to tell you today that almost all the disabled students of our college are volunteering for the Equal Opportunity Cell that was meant to assist them. But they tell me that we don't need assistance all the time. We are capable of providing assistance to others, and they gladly do so. How I love this spirit. Such people can only be an asset wherever they go, never a burden. So my article on News Ki Awaaz about stereotypes around disability was taken in a very positive light. But a few messages landed in my inbox and defied the whole purpose of me writing it. They read, and I quote, I salute your boyfriend. He is a great man to have fallen in love with you. Wow, guys, so we have found the shortcut to greatness. All you have to do is find a disabled girl, fall in love with her, and you will be called, quote-unquote, great. Also reminds me of an evening when I was chilling with my friends at a cafe. We were having a good time, and there was a man who was sitting with his wife on the neighboring table. He looked at my friends while pointing at me, and he said, you are all very kind girls. They asked him why, because he was a stranger. He said, you all came out for dinner with your friend in a wheelchair, and such acts of kindness are rare to find in the world today. Stereotype number 2. To love and befriend the disabled is something extraordinary to do. It feels utterly absurd to even say this, but my boyfriend did not start dating me out of sympathy. He liked me because, well, I am amazing, and we bond really well together, and I don't see any greatness in this. It was something very, very natural to happen, just like all other relationships. And let me also make this clear that the concept of able-bodied and disabled does not even exist between friends. When we are together, we are just a group of people who love hanging out with each other. There's no mercy, no sympathy, no kindness, and definitely no greatness. True love and friendship transcend the boundaries of this body. They flow from the soul, and souls are not disabled, are they? So I went home for my mid-semester break recently, and some family friends had come over. My mom was telling them about how I manage everything efficiently in Delhi. You know how moms are. She was all praise for me. And so that guest of ours, she had a contemplating look on her face, and she asked me, "Beta, what all TV serials do you watch?" I told her that I do not enjoy television much, so I haven't installed one at my place. She gave me that fake auntie's wali smile, lowered her voice, and said this to my mom. "Ye bichari bore ho jati hogi. Get a TV installed in her room na. Then there will be at least some entertainment in her life." My mom looked at me, I looked at my mom, and we both face-palmed. Stereotype number 3. People with disabilities lead a gloomy and boring life. No, we don't. Let me tell you about the EDM night from my college fest earlier this year. I was with my other friends on wheelchairs, and we looked beautiful that day. We screamed our lungs out when DJ Wale Babu played our favorite Gana, sang along the entire evening, and danced like crazy women. Thinking about it makes me want to dance right now. So I played a video of me showing my moves from that night, and I showed it to that lady who thought I would be dying of misery in Delhi. People with disabilities love their lives, and they enjoy their lives just like everyone else. We don't sit on our beds all day, every day with a grim expression, no. We sing, we dance, we read, we go clubbing, we go on dates. Spend a day with us, and you would know. Misconceptions are so many, it would take me hours to spell them all out for you. But moving on to the last one for today. Also, let me tell you that breaking this one is my favorite thing to do. So, some people from a small media house came home for an interview regarding disability awareness. It went well. At the end of it, they asked me if they could take a few pictures and attach them with the article. I readily agreed. I'm always up to pose for pictures. So they took a few pictures, and they started talking something in hushed voice. I asked them if something was wrong with the lighting of the room. And they said that, no, the lighting is perfect, but aap na ye lipstick utar do. I asked them why. And he said, and I quote, "We want to portray disability through this article, and you don't look disabled in these pictures." Stereotype number 4. People with disabilities are ugly. I marvel at that gentleman's audacity to tell me that a lipstick and disability don't go well together. He thinks he knows what disability looks like, but I want to tell him today that I see disability every day. On some days, it is all dolled up in a mesmerizing, glittery gown, and on other days, it shows up in a casual tee and shorts. I see it sipping tea quietly while contemplating on a rainy morning, and the same evening, I see it grinning from ear to ear thinking about the new girl in class. I also see disability having its moments of weakness, but every time after that, I have seen it rise from the ashes. You think disability is ugly? In this world where everyone is in a mad rush for perfection, the ones who embrace their bodily imperfections with a smile and accept their flaws and wear their scars like badges of honor are the ones who are truly, truly beautiful, my fellow people with disabilities. So the next time when you see someone on a wheelchair, don't assume he's sad. Don't assume he's weak. Don't assume he's dumb. Just don't assume. Acknowledge. Acknowledge that he is a human being, and you will see that thin glass wall between you and him break away like this, effortlessly. Nobody needs sympathy. All that we need is empathy, acceptance, and cooperation. Imbibe these three things in yourself, and you will be able to change the world and make it a better place for you, for me, and for us. Thank you. And the next time when someone says disability, I hope you think of a happy face. Thank you so much. Have a great day.